to decide which way to go based on activity already occurring. And what I'm told is that people do put on shows, and I keep waiting for the world to grow up and mature, and still waiting. I don't know what groups learn how to do things like this. I don't know why they are hell-bent on harming people. I don't know what it is. Actually don't. Junkyard Dog. And the entryways on both south corners of this complex. This whole block is a complex. It's called Shops at Liberty Place. It's partially a mall, partially an office building. The office building is actually over behind these trees. You can't really see it. And partially residences at Shops at Liberty Place. So there are condos up in that tall building there. And there are probably offices also. It might be a mix, I'm not positive. There's a whole bunch of things going on. So who would want to live above a mall or part of a mall? And they put Put Check in here. They used to have J. Crew and Express and stuff like that. I don't know. Other than people who think they're giants of the universe and try to control communities, I guess. Anyway. Or worse yet, people have purchased there and they were controlled by people who actually control the universe, while they convinced wealthy people who purchased condos here that they could, control the universe. That's how bad it gets. It's hard to tell who the people are who actually control the universe. But whoever made the most money gets to control is the one controlling other people's decisions. Also, I noticed Portobello, or whatever it was, some sort of a store across here, seems to be empty, so I don't know if it's closed. Mushroom. I've been eating a lot of mushrooms lately. And this also looks the same. Call it Junkyard Dog. So I call those entryways, the Junkyard Dog. In person, you can kind of make out the figure of like a dog with his chin on the ground. Someone posited or wondered if these fierce-looking dogs on the southern edges, they would be the southeast and southwest edges of Liberty Place itself. Or Shops at Liberty Place, if they are the watchdogs of something. So somebody's watching down 16th Street and 17th Street from Chestnut is the idea. Then somehow it just came to my brain while watching the Retail Archives, a guy who sort of walks around dead malls or malls in general, just because it's a thing. Like, malls kind of have fizzled out over the years. It's not like it used to be, I don't think, except for in some communities where it's still like a favored pastime. But people buy online. Like when I grew up, there were no online we didn't even have computers. That's how old I am. So it wasn't until college that the idea of emailing without graphics, it would be a blank page, came to fruition. So anyway, these days people buy online. But when he was showing the rotunda, he just did a thing on Shops at Liberty Place. And when he was showing the rotunda, which is a circle in the middle of the mall, or in the middle of the whole complex with a big glass, like dome ceiling, what have you, it struck me, the word rings, criminal rings came up. And also this idea that people's architecture reflects their role in life. So say whoever decided to create shops at Liberty Place, their goal and role might have been to keep an eye on criminal rings that get away with too much. There are lots of rings. People join up, you know, a gang could be considered a ring, but anyway, there are plenty of rings, lots of families. In fact, there are powerful rings within communities or the world, and they might even be able to hoist people up into the world of stardom. In fact, people can't figure out how to get a publishing contract or a record contract or even an athletic contract in the professional world, because there are rings that keep people from ever getting close enough. Like rings would be hogging the arenas, if you will. That's a theory that came up also. And some family rings could be quite dangerous, especially if they have money and they learn how to actually harass people for a living. You know, maybe they protect part of the food industry. You know, how many family rings were involved in remember that Oprah case back in the day, and she was really scared. She had to go to court because she mentioned once, like, you know what, maybe I don't want to eat beef, I'll eat, you know, because they had a whole she just sort of mentioned it on her show. But because she had such a wide audience and was so influential on TV, they sued her for slandering the beef industry. As I recall, she had a huge effect. You have to have millions in the numbers to be considered having the power to be slanderous. But as I recall, the remark that she made was minimal at best. She had to bring in Dr. Phil, became Dr. Phil because he was the lawyer hired to help her. He became famous after helping Oprah. And Oprah won the case. I believe she won the case. Anyway, and she had to go through all that. Of course, what sprouted after that is a food scientific industry, or really an organic food industry